Okay guys, here we are again, and this is the end of a crucial match in this week's 10 ball Scotch doubles tournament. In the last match we saw Senni and Jeeves put Romario and Izom to the one loss side. If we have a quick look at the bracket again, we will see that Senni and Jeeves also ended up going over to the one loss side, so now we're in the actual losers final. In the final rack decider, it's 2 racks all, and this is to see who wins this match to play Mr. Bill and Larry in the final. So we've got Jeeves at the table, who just plays a little drag shot there to kill the pace in the cue ball. Sitting a bit straight in the 7 for Senni though, and he's just drawn that back, nice pace. And this is a crucial shot, and that's not going to go, I don't think. Oh dear. He got his partner on the 9 though, and Dizzle and Romario will be breathing a sigh of relief there. I think they might have thought that was all over, and it was a good chance. He just maybe rushed it a wee bit. I keep saying, if you've got the shot clock, then use it. And this isn't going to be easy. I mean, it's an open pocket, but it's all about controlling the cue ball here to leave Izum a shot on this 10. And there you go. And has he got second prize? Yes, he has. And there's no way it's going to be jumped, so the only real option here, let's have a look from this side. Well, I think Senni's going to really have to dig down and really get right around us somehow to try and get an edge in that 9, and he's not done it, and that's game over. He should have probably went for the bank. I think there was a much bigger margin of error to go up and down the table and kiss that 9 in, and that's probably sold the match to Romario and Izom. And Romario is a bit awkward here on this rail, but he should finish the match off. We'll just keep it on the line of the shot here, and in it goes. So Romario and Izom get revenge, and they end Jeeves and Senni's participation in this tournament, and they win the match by 3 racks to 2. So now we're going to continue. We'll just join the lobby, because the final match, the room is now up. You see that there. We've got Mr. Bill and Larry, who are waiting to play Romario and Izom. We've got a couple of players in the room, and we should be able to join it and hopefully see the lag. Well, there we go, they're lining up. I don't know who's on what side. Well, that's a pretty good lag there, and Romario and Izom get to break. So remember, it's handicap, so it's a final race to 5. We've got team 2, which is Romario and Izom. They're getting 1 rack of a start, so they're up 1-0, and no luck in the break. So Bill's at the table, and this is I need to double check where Izom's from. Is he from the UK? Let's have a quick look. No, he's actually from Germany. So it's a European match here. It's could be a Ryder Cup or a Moscone Cup. We've got Larry and Bill, who are from the United States, against Romario, who's from England, and Izom from Germany. And Larry's on the 1. There's going to be no shot in the 2 ball here, so Larry's going to have to try and manufacture something. Well, that was an excellent effort, and he's actually left an easy combo for Bill with the 2 and the 6. So that's worked out very nice. And probably, I think once they get rid of this 2 ball, well, that could have worked out a bit better, but I think Larry will still tuck this down the rail. He just needs to keep the cue ball in the open. Bill will be looking to probably play the combo onto the 5 here with this 3 ball. I think he needs a bit of left-hand English to, yeah, he's played it with the left-hand English, he's kicked the cue ball up the table, and that's actually perfect. Couldn't have worked out nicer. And got to be hoping that this red doesn't tie itself up tight in the rail. You just need to play it dead weight, and again, executed perfectly. Now, does he bring the cue ball up the table to the top half? Yep, that's the right shot. And now this gives Bill options as to what he does with the cue ball. He can either just tuck the 7 in and bring the cue ball off the side rail between the 9 and the 10 and leave the long 8, or, well, he managed to have the angle there, so he's actually been able to just draw it across. So that was executed correctly again. Difficult to see the angle when you're not running around and keeping following the camera around to see the line of shot they've got, but that's good enough. And very simple here for Bill, just stop that cue ball dead, and Larry's got an easy 10 just to trickle it into that corner pocket. So that ties the match up at 1 rack all. That gets rid of the handicap. And of course, it's still winner breaks in the 10 ball tournament. And the 1 ball flies into that top left hand corner, closely followed by the 3, and the 2 sitting there waiting to be the next ball to go into that pocket. And there shouldn't really be a problem for Larry getting this cue ball right up here to this bottom end to give Bill a shot in the 4. And that's fine. Doesn't want to go too straight, that's okay, so Bill can just drop the 4 in. And if he gets it straight enough on this 5, Larry can just punch the 5 into the top corner and leave the cue ball back a little bit for this 6. So that'd be the ideal way to play it, but I think Bill didn't get into it enough, so Larry looks as if he's going to have to draw across to the right hand side of the 10 possibly. It's difficult to say what he prefers, but he could just draw across a bit. Or is he going to come right back and behind the 6? Well, he just played the right shot again. And the awkward ball here, it could end up being awkward as this 8 ball because it's quite adjacent to the 9, and if you just run the cue ball too far you can cut yourself off in the 8, but there's plenty of table to work with. Now let's have a look at what Larry's got. Well, Larry, I think he'll just roll this in. I don't think he's going to do anything with the cue ball other than just let the natural path take its course here. The cue ball will go off the side rail and back out between that 9 and 10, just so that Bill's got a shot on that 8, which he's done. And now, looking at the angle that Bill's got, does he want to go round a corner, punch it round? He's trying to just drop it in. And this is a slight, very, very slight cutback, so the angle of the cue ball means it's running out towards the 10. And Larry looks as if he's drawn back to leave the 10 into the middle, which he's done. Well, just a quick wee jab shot there, and that's okay. So Bill and Larry have gone into the lead. And izom and Romario certainly don't want to go too far behind because these races to 5 are quite short. And the 9 ball gets punched in, but no shot in the 2. So I think Bill will just be looking to push out somewhere down the top end of the table. You just got rid of the 5 ball. Again, the only slight problem ball I can see here is the 3, which is something where you have to just get the right position on it to pot it. But we're a wee bit away from that yet because izom has the option of playing this shot or pushing it back. he's just played the safety, but I think well, after Larry's finished here, Romario's going to have a nasty shot to play in a minute or two. Larry will just tickle this one ball, send the cue ball back across, and that's just hanging in the edge of the pocket, but I think there's enough there for, well, it's really touch and go, but I think Romario can just squeeze an edge of that one, and he's got cover as well. But no prizes for guessing here. I think Bill will get the jump stick out. He could easily kick this, and he might actually get cover if he kicked it. Let's have a look at the angle. Yes, I think he could kick that one off the end rail. Well, Bill's got the jump stick out, and this time it's worked in the sense that he potted a one, but he's paid the price because he's scratched. Because you got no real control over the direction the cue ball was going. The natural angle off that rail was going to take it across the middle. Now, Izom's got a problem. Potting this 2 and somehow doing something to go over to this 3. Well, that looks good. Oh, that's unlucky. That's unfortunate. He did well to get the split, but poor Romario is looking at just an edge on the 3 again. Now, he doesn't want to just punch this down, so he's went for the pot, and that needs to kiss off the 8, which it's done. Now, what does Larry do? Try and tuck the cue ball over behind the 4 again. I think it's easy to send that 3 down into the middle of the top rail there as we look, and just bring the cue ball back across. Or maybe he's going for the cut. Difficult to say, but I'd be playing the safety. I know that's what's in my mind. Well, he gets it, and he's got Bill on the 4. And I think well, Larry looks as if he's made up his mind he's not going to mess about. If he sees a ball and he sees a pocket, he's going for it, which isn't good news for Izom and Romario. And again, this table is easy. Just about manoeuvring the cue ball and keeping it simple and keeping it open, getting your partner onto the next ball. And that looks a perfect angle. Bill can just stun across with this 8 ball, or he can run through and come across, whichever he's happy with. And he just played a little draw. Bill's left just to roll the 10 down into the top corner. Again, don't spend too much time looking at angles and looking for problems, just get down and hit it. So, now the alarm bell should be ringing for Romario and Izom, because Larry and Mr. Bill mean business here. They were 3-0 down in their first round match, and I think they actually came back and won that. I think I said at the time that they were under pressure against their opponents. Let's have a quick look. Yep, Bill and Larry, they were 3-0 down against Senny and Jeeves in that first round match, and they won it 5-3, so they don't mess about. And I think Romario and Izom, they don't want to be taking over ambitious shots. You've got to learn when to attack and when to defend, especially when you're defending the fact that you're 3 racks to 1 down. Sometimes the best form of defence is attack, but provided you're sure that you're going to make use of what you're doing. Now the angle is nice here to just pot this 3 ball and bring the cue ball over to the left side to take the 4 into the same pocket. So it's just about pace. And that again was just the wrong shot to play. has he ran far enough? Well, he's ran far enough to get on the 4, but why he didn't see it was a lot easier just to drop behind the 4 from the angle he had, I don't know. Anyway, they're still at the table. And now Romario has been left a fairly straight 6, where he only really needs to roll this dead weight and keep the cue ball right in the middle of the table. Well, he stunned it and stopped it. So this is a crucial shot here. Romario needs to force this 8 ball in, and which has of course ruined the shot, because it sent the 8 ball offline. It's rattled in the jaws, and luckily it's come up and tied itself against the 9. And I think if Larry can see the edge of that 8, he's just going to tuck that 8 behind the 9 even further and roll the cue ball to the left here, which he's managed to do. And Izom really needs to call this 8 ball. Yep, he needs to call the 8 ball into this bottom left hand corner as we look. Is he going to try and kick it off the rail? Well, it looks like he's going to try and kick it. I don't know whether the angle's there. Let's have a look. No, he has to kick it from the other side, I think. Can he get enough of that to pot it along the rail? No, I didn't think so. I think he should have called it the other side, because there was a chance he could have hooked him behind that 9 with the cue ball had he failed to negotiate the 8 past the 9. And that's, I'm afraid, not looking good for Izom and Romario, because Bill and Larry are going to tidy this up no problem. So Bill and Larry move straight on to 4, and Izom and Romario are still sitting on the 1 rack that they got, so they've yet to win a rack. And Larry with the break, and the 5 ball drops into the bottom left, the 7 drops into the top right as we look, and the cue ball finishes perfectly on the 1. And Bill just needs to draw this cue ball up the table, somewhere out in the middle of the table, to leave Larry a shot in the 2. Oh dear. Now there's a mistake, and that's a mistake that needs to be punished. So Romario and Izom know exactly what's required of them here. They're at the table when they least expected it, and we have Izom, who has disconnected, so we will resume the recording in a minute, provided Izom gets back into the game. Well, we're still waiting on Izom coming back into the room, so maybe he's had a power failure or something, but he certainly dropped his connection. And that message will stay up on the screen until the missing player reconnects to the game, because then the game will continue from where it's left off. But usually if it takes any more than a couple of minutes, it suggests there's more of a major problem at Izom's end. Right, Izom has finally made it back into the game. Romario is on the 1 ball, needs to bounce and miss that ball there. I think that was a 12. And he's going to have to pull out a good shot here. And this is the type of shot you don't want to have to get to keep yourself in a match, really. He's got his work cut out, not only cutting this 2 ball in, but getting Romario onto this 3. Well, he did the right shot there. That was a sensible thing to do. Keep it tight, and the only thing I would say against it is the fact that Larry is looking at the 2 and probably looking at a bank here. well, he's decided to give them some of their own medicine, and he's played a pretty damn good safety full ball snooker, and I think Romario is going to look to kick this off the side rail. Well, that was unlucky. I think he got the 6 first there. Yeah, and it's ball in hand to Bill and Larry, and this is a chance to seal the match and the tournament here. All the balls sitting in the open, and Bill just taking his time. He's got his shot clock, so he's just looking at what the best way to play this 2 is, just to roll through and get Larry on that 3. But he's done it in such a way that Larry's got an angle on the 3, and Larry will probably just dig down into the cue ball and draw into the side rail here. Needs to make sure he doesn't mess about with that 10 ball though. Oh, now. Oh, I think that's worked out okay, but that could have been so much different there. That was a danger shot there. He's got away with it. Now Larry needs to stop the cue ball, punch this 6 down the rail. Or is he just going to trickle it? No, he's going to put a bit of stop on it. Again, plenty of room to manoeuvre to get beyond that 9 so that Bill can see the 8. Well, Larry's went for the more elaborate shot and it's worked out nice. Nice angle left on the 8, and Bill can just send the cue ball up between the 10 and the side rail and back out and up for that 9. Or is he just going to trickle it in? Well, that's probably the right shot to do in his mind, because you're not manoeuvring a cue ball and nothing crazy can happen. And it's going to be plain sailing now, I would think. And Larry leaves Bill dead straight on the 10. The 10 will be called into the corner and Bill will just tuck it away. So Mr. Bill and Larry win this week's 10 ball Scotch doubles tournament, and they win the final by 5 racks to 1.